YouTube? I'm back again today for another game review. Today I'm very excited to check out Clue from Parker Brothers. This is for 3 to 6 players. Age is 8+. It'll take about 30 to 40 minutes to play. And in Clue, you are going to be rolling dice and you're going to be going around a mansion trying to solve a murder by figuring out where the crime was committed, who committed the crime, and with what weapon they committed the crime. It is an old school classic game. It sold millions of copies, has tons and tons of different variants on it. It was made into an actually pretty spectacular movie, but does the game stand the test of time? Does the nostalgia live up? Let's open it up and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Clue. So first and foremost, we have a handy dandy box insert, which is this right here. Very easy to learn, easy to teach. Most people have a grasp on how the game is played, especially if they're older people. But teaching this to new people is still pretty simple as well, just as long as you hammer down between what the difference between making a suggestion is and making an accusation is. You should have very few problems with the game. So in Clue, what you're going to do is you're going to try to figure out what cards are in this top secret confidential envelope, which is going to tell you who murdered someone with what weapon and where they were when they committed the murder. So at the beginning of the game, you're going to sort out all these cards, and there's going to be 3 different types of cards. There's going to be people cards, there's going to be location cards, and there's going to be weapon cards. You are going to put those into 3 piles. Then you're going to carefully take 1 card off from each pile, like so. Then you're going to, you don't really need to mix them up. Then you're going to very, very, very carefully slide them into the envelope. Put the envelope, boom, right in the middle of the table, and you are ready to start the game after you have shuffled these cards right here. So you'll shuffle up these cards, and you will deal them out. So let's just say everybody gets, I don't know, 4 in this particular example. You normally go until everyone has cards, until everyone has all the cards. So you're going to just deal them all out. So then you're going to take a look at your hand, and everyone's going to get one of these handy dandy little cheat sheets right here. And these cheat sheets are going to have all the different suspects, all the different weapons, and all the different rooms in the game. They're double-sided, which is nice as well. What you want to do is you want to mark off all the cards that you have in your hand, because you know that the murder was not committed by Professor Plum, because the Professor Plum card is in fact not in there. Likewise, I would now know that the lead pipe, the revolver, and the knife were not involved, which is huge, so I have 3 of the 5 weapons already completely eliminated from being potential suspects. Everyone's going to pick a character. It doesn't matter which character you are. You're actually the characters from the game. So let's see. I will just be Mr. Green because Mr. Green's spot is right here. But the rest of these are actually going to stay near the board, which is kind of a weird thing they do, and I'll explain that a little bit later. It's actually a rule that I completely forgot about that's really annoying. But all these are going to stay near the board. So in theory, everyone would have their pieces set up. So let's just say Colonel Mustard's playing, and I don't know, Miss Peacock. I think she's purple. Yeah, Miss Scarlet's playing. So, what are you going to do? Well, on your turn, you're going to roll the dice, and you're going to move that many number of spaces. So, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, the goal is to go into the rooms, because if you can go into the rooms, you can start making suggestions about who committed the crime. So, we'll go up here. Miss Scarlet will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Colonel Mustard, he gets shafted, he went 1, and then I roll the dice again, and I got shafted, I went 1. She goes, 3, whatever, he goes 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll again, go 4, and now I'm going into the ballroom. So, when you make a suggestion the second you enter a room, assuming it is your turn. So, luckily for me, I don't have the ballroom down here. You have to use the room you're at. You don't have to use the weapon that was randomly put in your room, because there are some weapons in the room, as you see. Those weapons will move around all through the game. You just randomly put out the 6 when you start the game, the 5. So I'm going to say ballroom, and I'm also going to look at my cards, and I'm going to say, lead pipe, revolver, knife. I'm going to go the rope. You know what, actually, for this particular example, I'm going to go with the candlestick in the ballroom, and the murderer was Colonel Mustard. And this is one of the rules that I forgot about. You actually physically move that person's pawn into your room with you. So if I was going to do one of these 3 people, they would go in there temporarily. He now is over here, so he might have had big plans to go to the dining room. Those plans are now canceled because I pulled them over here, suggesting that he, in fact, killed, whoever in the ballroom with the candlestick. So now, starting with the player to my left, they're going to look at their cards to see if they have anything to disprove it. So this person does not actually have anything to disprove this theory. So this person would say, I pass. And now this person would go over here. And they would say, I have... Well, they wouldn't say this, but they in fact have the ballroom and the candlestick. So they're not going to give me both of these. They're going to give me one of these. And you know what? They would probably give me the ballroom, because there's a whole bunch of rooms. Letting someone know which room, one room that's eliminated, is not a big deal. So I would look at this card, and then I would go to my little sheet, and I would X out the ballroom, because I now know that the ballroom is in fact not in play. Now let's pretend on some crazy hypothetical thing that I had been correct, that no one gave me the candlestick, no one gave me the ballroom, no one gave me Colonel Mustard. They are not in my hands. What you also can do is you can make an accusation. You can do a suggestion and an accusation on the same turn. This is a rule that I really screwed up when I was a kid. We used to make it that you had to go to these stairs to make an accusation, but you can just do it from wherever you want, and you can do it after suggestion. So at this point, I would suggest that I'd make the accusation that I think it was this, and the ballroom. And in this case, I would have won the game if those three cards were there. However, if I was wrong, then I'm completely removed from the game. So you don't want to make accusations lightly. You have to get it right, or else you're out of the game. But anywho, you're going to continue to do that. Colonel Mustard would be stuck over here, and he could make an accusation in the ballroom if he wanted to. But he already knows, because I think this is his hand right here, that it's not the ballroom and it's not the candlestick. But he could, for instance, just say, I think it's the ballroom and the candlestick and something else, because he would be then getting one very valuable piece of information. And sometimes that is the play, is to make suggestions for things that you have in your hand, so you can kind of trick other people at the same time. But anywho, you're going to continue to do this until someone successfully accuses the people in here, or there's only one person left, at which point they will be the winner of the game. And that, in a nutshell, is how you're going to play Clue. Alrighty then, Clue from Parker Brothers. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, game's not going to be for everybody for a variety of different reasons. 3 to 6 players are somewhat of a restricted player count. Also, it is very light, and it is very simple, and if you're playing at the higher player counts, it will outstay its welcome. It takes a lot longer to play because you have a lot less cards, you're going to have a lot less turns, and I liked it best at 3 and 4 players. I did play one game at 6 players, and I was like, whoa, I don't remember this game being this long. Also, the game has some really dumb, old, dinosaur-aged rules that really kind of drag down the experience somewhat. Feels like they really could streamline these pretty easily. First, you roll the dice, roll and move. And this is just something I absolutely hate. And, I mean, if you roll a whole bunch of ones, you're going to be doing a whole bunch of nothing in this game, unless people start accusing you. If people start accusing you, then you can move around the board. But still, rolling ones sucks in this game. It really does a lot. That's another thing. I don't like the concept of people being able to drag you from where you were headed to the other side of the board. And you actually can use this as a strategy. If you think someone's about to go into a room and find out some valuable information that you already know, you can just pull them over to the other side of the board, and they're just kind of stuck there until they can get all the way back to where they want to go. Now, I do understand that's kind of a balancing mechanism a little bit, because if you roll a whole bunch of ones, you might still get pulled in the room, and you might still be able to make accusations, but I don't like either of those mechanisms. I prefer if both of them were gone. I mean, why can't I just suggest that Miss Peacock killed somebody in the library without dragging her into it? I feel like it's the 20th century. We talk behind each other's backs now. Why can't we do that in Clue? Any other cons over the game? You know, this is not an adult game. You know, maybe if you're playing it for nostalgia's sake, it's still a very light, simple game, and there are going to be different skill levels, and I've noticed this when I play the game. There are certain things that you pick up if you pay attention, and the more attention you pay to this game, the better you're going to do. So if you're playing with kids, you might need to take it a little bit easy, because you'll be like, oh, wait, I have both those cards in my hand, which means if this guy's marking that off and I didn't give either of my cards, then that, in fact, is something that I know is something that I can mark off. There's little things like that, but overall, moving on to the pros, you know, Clue is good. There you go. Clue's good. I still think it is a good family game. Any other category, and I'm going to go with a no. I'm not playing this with adults. I'm not playing this as a filler game or like a family get-together game. I don't want to play this with adults. But if I'm playing this with kids, and I'm getting to watch kids really enjoy figuring it out and deducing it and puzzling it out, then yes, I think it's still a good game. That being said, are there much better kids games out there? Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt. I want to stress, it's not a kids game so much as a family game. I don't think kids really could play this game until they're like 9, 10, 11 by themselves. So the difference I put between a kids game and a family game is I think a kids game is a game that a kid, once they know how to play, could teach a whole bunch of other kids and they could all just play it by themselves. It's kind of like a Connect 4 or Checkers or something like that. This I would put more into the family weight category where they still probably are going to need an adult present for the setup and for if there's any rules issues or anything like that. So I would still put this as a family weight game as opposed to a kids game, and I think that's a good family weight game. Will I be keeping the game? No, I'm not, because I would much rather play the family games that are better than this game. Because there are many, many, many better family weight games than Clue, but Clue is not terrible. I mean, a lot of people, they kind of wrap up Monopoly and a lot of all these old school, long box games into one category of all just crap. Because it does have roll and move. And the roll and move is crap. It's really bad, and it drags the game down exponentially. And when you play at the higher player counts, it really drags it down. You know what? I'm going to say this game is okay. The more I think about the flaws this game has, I'm going to go with okay over good, but close to being good. Because some of these flaws are just inexcusable, and they really do drag down the game, and I would never, ever, ever want to play this game at 6 players. Never again. Never again. Oh, that's another big con I have of this game, is that it's a fragile game, which means if one person screws up something accidentally, that can screw up the whole game for someone else. They could be just lock, stock, and barrel. Sure, it is Professor Mustard who committed the murder, because somebody accidentally didn't give them that Professor Mustard card that one time. And so they stopped asking about Professor Mustard because they knew that, there's instances where that happens. And it happened to me when I was playing with one of the kids. It was like, wait, that's not possible. Either you messed up or were missing cards or something like that. And it turns out that a kid had messed up, and that completely tanked the game for me, where to the point where I was, it ruins the game, and it's very hard to fix. So that's, it is a fragile game. So you know what? I'm going more on the okay side. So there you go. Clue is okay. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's great. I do have nostalgia for this game. I think the movie's great. I love the movie. I think it's a great movie. But the game itself, there's much better deduction games out there. There's much better, trying to figure things out games, which I suppose is just a dumb synonym for deduction. But so yeah, there you go. Clue, Parker Brothers. It's okay. It's still something that you're gonna have fun with as a family, but other than that, no. And there's more games. There's hundreds of games that I would recommend over Clue in that same scenario. But if you really are having that nostalgia bug, you find a copy of Clue at a thrift shop, or you find it cheap at Walmart or something like that, you are still probably going to have fun with kids playing this game. And even as, like a family game night style game, with the kids and the parents or whatever. So there you go. But for everybody else, no. Clue, Parker Brothers, does not stand up to the test of time, even though it's not a complete flaming pile of garbage. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know. Have you seen the Clue movie, and do you like it as much as me? For me personally, because I know they're very subjective, movies are, but I love Clue. I love Clue. And I remember my dad used to have the satellite dish, and he would order stuff, and so you'd get it for 24 hours. Just kind of a weird system where they would just show the movie for 24 hours, back to back to back to back to back to back to back. We'd always just record it, or sometimes we would just leave it sitting on all day. And I remember for some reason, Clue was one of the movies that we downloaded, despite the fact it's an older movie. I'm not quite sure why we did that, why we recorded it. But I love that movie, man. Growing up with that movie, I just thought it was so great. The comedy was on point. I like the fact that there was actually 3 different endings, if I recall correctly, which I think was a really cool concept. Let me know in the comments below. The Clue movie. Do you dig it? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.